morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I have a few prepared remarks and then I'll answer any questions you may have. My name is Suzette Grillot, and I am here to announce, provide further context, and make clear my hopes for the lawsuit I have filed in federal court against the University of Oklahoma, its Board of Regents, its President James Gallogly, and its Provost Kyle Harper. There are at least 3 pervasive and systemic conditions of injustice, discrimination, and exclusion that have been allowed to exist at the University of Oklahoma. These include, but are not limited to, gross pay discrimination against women employed at the university, a failure to support and provide a safe and inclusive environment for people of color and other minorities, and finally, a culture of fear enforced by retaliation and adversarial treatment against those who seek to address these pervasive problems. In my 20 years of employment at the University of Oklahoma, I had hoped that the change necessary to correct and alleviate such an unjust environment would eventually be embraced and implemented by those with the power and responsibility to do so. However, as I stated on January 22nd of this year at the Rally to End Racism, I had quickly learned during the first few months of the appointment of President James Gallogly and his subsequent and further empowerment of Provost Kyle Harper that together they would seek to diminish the presence and importance of diverse peoples at the university. It became clear that our hopes for a more open, diverse, inclusive, and respectful university culture would not be realized, and that more quickly than I could imagine, the suffocating strangle of oppression and the suppression of dissenting voices would be even more prevalent than it had been before. For those of us who have seen and experienced the injustice and have fought for change, who have witnessed and wept at the painful experiences of the university's many victims of racism, sexism, and other abusive misconduct, who have spent decades in advocacy for the underrepresented, it has been appalling to watch this administration's efforts to dismantle important diversity-supporting programs for which so many have worked so tirelessly. James Gallogly and Kyle Harper have actively harmed, undermined, deprioritized, and entirely deleted programs that have been created for and implemented by members of the OU community who aren't of a similar background, who don't look like them, and for whom they lack appreciation and understanding. This is something I could not and will not tolerate. Regarding pay discrimination, I am confident that we will prove the allegations in this lawsuit that the University of Oklahoma's administration, including David Boren, Kyle Harper, and James Gallogly, have for years perpetuated gross gender pay inequities. They have repeatedly been made aware of these unlawful and unjust conditions, yet have failed to rectify them, a feat only accomplished by the presence and perpetuation of a culture of fear due to the retaliation one suffers when complaints of discrimination are made. Therefore, I hope that this lawsuit will shed light on this issue and lead to relief and justice, not only for me, but for all women at OU who have been subjected to this unfair and illegal treatment. As you may suspect, this lawsuit will also demonstrate a clear pattern of retaliation that I experienced for exercising my First Amendment rights to speak openly about matters of public concern, as well as for my efforts to prevent further injustices by informing the public of issues that are of great importance to all of us. My hope is that this lawsuit will begin the process of lifting the culture of fear that has paralyzed so many at OU, a culture that has worked to prevent whistleblowing, to prevent free speech, and so many other important and constitutionally protected activities that are necessary elements of any moral and healthy public institution. Finally, I filed this lawsuit and I speak of it here today, not only in the hope that it will serve to protect me from further retaliation and discrimination, but that it will protect others from retaliation and discrimination as well. I also hope that it will remind James Gallogly and Kyle Harper that those of us who have had enough of abuses of power at the University of Oklahoma are here. We are not going anywhere, and we cannot and will not be silenced. I want to thank you, the members of the press and media, for being here today. I want to thank my attorney, Rand Eddy, for representing me in this matter, my friend Sarah Banna for standing here with me. I want to thank the numerous individuals here across the country and around the world that have offered their support to me. I thank the few dear and close friends that have courageously stuck by my side throughout one of the most difficult experiences of my life, despite the real risks to them and their positions at OU. I would like to thank my mother, who's always provided me a place of refuge and good counsel throughout my employment struggles at OU. And I especially want to thank my daughter for her constant encouragement and guidance, and for her refusal from the very beginning to allow me in any way to back down from what we both knew was wrong and unlawful behavior on the part of this university's leadership. The love I have been shown by so many provides me great strength. So I want to thank everyone who's been supportive and who stands with me as I face the adverse actions this university continues to take. As you might imagine, speaking out in this difficult climate has not been easy. There are great challenges associated with holding a powerful institution and its leaders accountable for their inappropriate actions, their harmful behavior, and their egregious misconduct. But I simply can't stand by any longer and watch these individuals use this public institution as their own imperial playground. This must change, and together we can make this change happen. Together we can and must achieve a more just, equitable, and respectful place at the University of Oklahoma, a place where all students, faculty, and staff are truly welcome, safe, included, appreciated, and treated equitably, as they all work tirelessly to create knowledge, promote learning, and serve humanity. Thank you, and I'm now ready to answer any questions you might have.
Can you just talk about the decision to, take up this cause for everybody being in your unique position as a protected professor?
Well, first of all, for me, I think that I have suffered at the University of Oklahoma, and so clearly I'm seeking justice and accountability for that. But it's not just me, and I've said that multiple times. This isn't just about me, this is about many. And so my hope is that this will shed light on that, and that it will bring the change that all of us at the University of Oklahoma and in the state of Oklahoma deserve. You mentioned the protection of being a protected faculty member, and tenure matters in these cases. Tenure is what allows people like me to be able to step outside of that culture of fear, regardless of how hard it is. And believe me, I'm still afraid, and I have tenure. So, that's what allows us to hold institutions accountable. It's why it's so important.
This institution is just under fire a lot lately. You're bringing the lawsuit forward and now for it, and we've been covering it for quite some time now. Do you believe there is some sweep that needs to happen, or fact checking? Are you not the only one? I feel like a lot of people are coming forward now.
Yes, please check your facts. I hope they all come out. I look forward to them all coming out. That's the whole point of doing this, is to shed light on the truth of what's happened at this university, what continues to happen at this university. It's the only reason to do it. Sure, it would have been a lot easier to take the money and the payout that they offered and run away and live my life, never look back. But I'm not going to do that, because it needs to change. And so, yeah, check into it, do your homework, be there. And I'm hoping that as time goes by, more and more people at the University of Oklahoma will speak their truth, because they're afraid. They're afraid to do so right now. So we've got to get that started. We've got a lot of work to do.
You list a hostile work environment and disparate treatment in the form of gender discrimination. Can you provide any more detail on that, an example or something?
The details of that, I think, will be coming out through the legal process. I really look forward to sharing all of the details about the toxic and hostile work environment I work in and so many other people work in unnecessarily. So those details will be forthcoming, and I look forward to that coming out.
Do you feel like the policies and practices that are currently in place have perpetuated some of the recent incidents among students on campus?
Of course. Racism, sexism, these kinds of things are as I've said before, baked into the layer cake of the university. These are institutionalized exclusionary and discriminatory practices, and our policies reflect that, and our leaders uphold that, and that's got to stop. You have to get rid of all of that. And so yeah, that's a big part of doing this, is to make and hopefully achieve real change. Do you have any suggestions for how the university should move forward to make some of these changes? I most certainly do, and I'll be happy to share those as time goes by. I have, based on my 20 years there, I've seen a lot and experienced a lot, and and I'm a higher ed professional. I'm from Oklahoma. I grew up here. I grew up in the state of Oklahoma. I grew up in East Tulsa. I went to school at Oklahoma State. I earned degrees in this state. I was lucky to come back to the state of Oklahoma after earning my PhD. Lucky to get a job at OU where I had no connections. I didn't get a job there because of any personal relationship I had with anyone. And I've worked hard in my job there. And I've seen a lot during that time, and I have, and I think others also feel similarly and have a lot of experience. There are a lot of people out there that have tremendous experience on how to build, change, build, and move forward in a better way. And I really, really hope that will happen for the University of Oklahoma.
You mentioned that you were fearful almost standing up here and using your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever threatened to not speak up by any administrators at OU?
I think details about that will definitely emerge, and I'll reserve any specific comment about threats or conversations about my public speaking. I think you can see in the complaint, and I'll refer you to the detailed complaint, and not all the details are even there, but there are definitely things that I look forward to emerging through the process.
What do you want your students to know, particularly those minority students that might find it harder to be on campus right now?
Well, first of all, I've just been so fortunate to work with, serve and support our diverse international student community at OU. And my heart goes out to them, it always has and it always will. And I'm here for them still. And so what I say to them is they are there, they should be there, they're welcome there, and I will do everything I can to make sure that continues, or that sentiment is communicated. Our international student population are the most brave students on campus. They come from all over the world, and they come far, far away from home with little support, financial and otherwise, and they are struggling. They've always struggled, but they're definitely struggling now, and so I am here to support them. There are many of us that are here to support them. They should reach out to me, and I connect them to whoever they need, but I feel very passionately about our international student community. And for me, that isn't just a profession. That isn't just, my job. It wasn't just my job to support the international student community. It was my passion. It is my passion, and I feel deeply about it. And it's a strong, deep sense of humanity, and that's what we need to highlight at the University of Oklahoma.
You mentioned that you've had friends who have stuck by you through this situation. What would you say to people who don't understand why you're doing this?
Well, I think until today, today to me begins the process of hopefully people understanding more about what has happened here. Up until today, I think what people saw and, on the surface was, budgets needed to be cut, the College of International Studies was going to be cut. I said no, I was fired, I got mad, I used an expletive at a rally. That's pretty much what everyone knows and sees. But that's not the whole story. There's a tremendous amount of context there. I've tried to provide a little bit of that today. People should understand that what happened that day and what's happened before has a lot to do with years and years of struggle and pain and trauma and suffering. And watching it, bearing witness to it. Not just my own, but bearing witness to the difficulties that we have on campus, the unnecessary difficulties. It just shouldn't be this way. There's no reason for it to be this way, and there should be no reason why we advantage a budget, over humans. In this case, we can do both, and there's no reason why we can't manage our budget and be humane at the same time. So I look forward to all of those, more details about this. I have a lot more to say about that at some point in time, but I want people to understand that there's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more to pretty much every story that's coming out about OU. You know, don't just judge the headlines and that book by the cover, because there's a lot going on here that needs to be exposed, and my hope is that it will be.
Would you discourage someone to work and apply to OU right now, especially women and minorities?
I mean, I would never discourage anyone from following where they should go. I mean, I think that you know, I hate the thought of having to discourage somebody to come to a place that I love. I love the state and I love the University of Oklahoma. I don't love what's happening, and I don't love the things that need to change, and that's okay. I mean, we can do that. We can love something and also say it needs to change, and we can work together to do that. Would I discourage them? I mean, I can't really say yes or no. I mean, I think it's a difficult place. Let me just say that it's a difficult place right now. It's a difficult environment for many, and that is really a shame. And that's what I hope will change. I mean, we're missing out on tremendous opportunities for people to come here, because they do just read the headlines and they see what's going on. And so I hope that we can get to a better place where everyone will feel encouraged to come here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.